commune with the tree, commune with Gaia in whatever way you can, touch her, be with her. You will receive, not only will you remove negative EMF energies from your body, you will literally begin to get the guidance of how to be in service as a planetary medicine woman, medicine man, keeper of the sacred energies of Gaia.
Welcome, sacred travel enthusiasts. Get ready to receive planetary medicine so we can all come back into communion and sacred stewardship with Gaia. What planetary medicine even is and how this can look like, I have no other guest than the amazing Dawn Del Vecchio with me today. Dawn has been leading retreats in the USA and abroad since 2018, focusing on planetary medicine for humanity's awakening and ascension. She has gathered at sacred sites in Egypt, Arizona, New Mexico, Indonesia, and Thailand. Dawn holds a bachelor's degree in women's studies, a master's degree in shamanic intuitional practices, and has trained and served as an evolutionary astrologer for more than a decade. She's the founder of the Return of the Priestess speaker series and co-founder of the free monthly Prayers for Humanity online gatherings. As the lineage bearer of the Mother Spirit Priestess training, Dawn guides women through a 13-moon training program to prepare them for sacred leadership. Welcome, Dawn.
Thank you for having me today, Julia. It's lovely to be here with you.
Well, thank you for coming on. It is, really such an honor to have you as a guest here today, as it's been your Return of the Priestess Summit, actually a couple of years back, that has opened so many alleyways for me on my spiritual path. So it's, truly an honor. Thank you for taking this precious time to be with us today. So when it comes to planetary medicine, from your experience and right now, what do you feel is it that we need to heal from as a collective? And what does planetary medicine offer to us?
Ooh, good question. Okay, I'm going to just take a moment to tune in because there's so much here. I want to be concise. I want to start off, first of all, by saying that, just to kind of frame this up, Gaia, Earth Gaia, Mother Earth, the planet, she is a mighty and powerful being. And we have witnessed over this last however long period of time, many, we could say, abuses of her. Nuclear, poison, chemicals, all of that stuff. And I truly feel and believe that we don't save planet Earth. That she could shake us off if she wanted to.
Yeah.
It is about coming into coherence with her, into sacred relationship with her again, conscious relationship with her, with ourselves, with each other, honoring the body of Gaia, honoring our own bodies, not by worshiping them as the end in itself, but in the recognition of our shared unity beyond the physical form, our shared divinity, if you will. So with that said, as a kind of frame up, I'm not saying, like all the trite things that get commercialized, like, going to hotels, those of us who travel a lot, right? You go to hotels, save the planet. Don't have your towel washed every day. This kind of thing is not what we're talking about when we talk about planetary medicine. So we have had over, I don't know how long, thousands of years, this has been a planet of what some call 3D, let's just use that framework. Some people say it's not dimension, it's frequency, or, it's whatever. But just say this sort of 3D deep states of separation, the belief in attack, the belief that if I attack someone else, I am defending myself. The violence, the wars, the chemical poisons now in the soil, all of this stuff. the genocide, something that I see have, been on lands that have experienced that in America and in Southeast Asia. There's imprints in the fields, the collective field, the old earth grid. You could call it the old earth grid. So there's a lineage like when you meet people, for example, whose parents, grandparents, or even great grandparents were in concentration camps of any kind. We often think of Nazi Germany, but I can tell you from here that Cambodia, for example, is
Yeah.
one of those places where the horror is a lot more recent. That they're the lineage bearers of great trauma that got imprinted in that line, passed down from mother to child, father to child. So there's that. There's the soil, the earth itself, the places where there's been lots of bombing, for example, the unbelievable amounts of carpet bombing and still unexploded ordinances that are all over the country of Laos, thanks to the US government. There's that kind of physical and psychological trauma, and that that I want to say requires, I'm not sure, that's a call for love. It's a call for
Yeah.
healing. It's a call for frequency healing, psychological healing, emotional and physical, the whole gamut. And so planetary medicine can look lots of different ways, but I would say for those of us here, it isn't so much about going to communities and finding a need and investing in that. That's super important, super valuable. In fact, I had an extraordinary experience with a school in Cambodia just about a week ago that where someone invested their money and it's impacted thousands of children's and lives.
Beautiful.
Yes. Yeah, it's profound what we can do with a little bit of money. So that's important, valuable, priceless. And then there's also the planetary medicines that's operating at a frequential level, a frequency level, that's working with the energy lines of Gaia, that's imprinting and infusing new energetics into the field, working with the elementals, for example, working with the energies of earth, air, fire, water, attuning our own frequency, and then becoming vessels, conduits for higher love light intelligence to flow through us into the grids of the earth to disperse through an area or as part of the global net of healing, as it were. There's work you can do with crystals, for example. Quartz crystal is an incredible tool for activating grids, opening up stargates, and doing planetary medicine at that level as well. And crystals are kind of, to me, they're like the star beings of the earth element in
Mhm.
some way. So I kind of gone all over the place. Have I answered the question?
It's
I
a
feel
vast question. So absolutely. And
big.
I want to hook right in where you said about becoming the vessel, because it's also you speak often about like us being these intermediaries between human and the elemental realm. So can you explain a little bit more about what you actually mean by that? How we do that?
Yeah, yeah. So, we are divine eternal beings having a temporary experience in form. And in this dream state of this temporary experience, especially where we were incarnated in time and space here, we were often the veils were put over our eyes or the scales on our eyes. We could not see all of our potential. But we are imbued with the gifts and abilities of the divine. We are made in the likeness and image, as the Christian Bible says. That's not a white dude on a cloud. That means we are omnipotently created. We are love itself, and we are eternally free. And so when we begin to tap into that energy, not the ego persona, not the Dawn or the Julia, right? The eternal self, we do energy clearing work. Like I clear my chakras every day. I work with my heart chakra every day, and we work at the energetic level. We can literally, through our intention and attention, we ask to be the conduits for divine love light. Now, if we are new on the path, or we are carrying lots of shadow material, unresolved trauma through the family line, early childhood, other incarnations, if we hold a lot of judgment toward others, if we believe in attack and separation, we can invoke the highest and most powerful God light to flow through us, but we will have obstructions in our energy field. So we're not a very clear channel. We have to do our inner work. You cannot spiritual bypass your way to be love and light. That's why we're here. We came here, we've been in separation. We have to clear the obstructions to love's presence. And the more we do that, the more clear of a conduit we can be. And we know that by the nature of how our reality is self-correcting, how our lives are unfolding. It doesn't mean that we don't have challenges. We often do. We handle them in a way that has more mercy, compassion, and patience for ourselves and others. And in that way, we can be the conduit literally to, I call forth the divine love light intelligence to infuse into Gaia's new earth grid, the high love light intelligence of God source, to be in service to supporting humanity, supporting Gaia, the animals, all the realms, for upliftment, for frequency shift to a higher octave, if you will, to a more enlightened way of resonating, really.
What would be one thing everyone can do and start today to attune to that?
Ooh, there's a lot of things. Let me just what's presenting here. I'm going to actually tune into Mother Earth, Gaia, and ask her.
Hey, everybody. If you are enjoying the show, then you would do me the biggest favor in clicking the subscribe button and engaging with my content so I can continue to deliver these beautiful conversations to you. Thank you so much.
Touch me and talk to me, she says. Touch me and talk to me. We have to reforge our connection with Gaia.
Yeah.
It's so important. Know that she is a conscious being. She doesn't have lips and eyes, and she doesn't talk like we do, but she'll talk to you if you become available for her. She will. You know, I've been having a healing issue that's been happening for me structurally in my body for more than a year now. And when I came back from Southeast Asia back to America in the Southwest where I live last year, my husband and I went for a little walk, and the big tree that I call grandmother tree that's in the forest right near my home, I literally felt her say to me, "Come and sit with me regularly." And that was, you know, you could imagine, oh, that's just my imagination, or it's just a cool thought I had, or whatever. But what happened is I had a very intense year, family stuff, health stuff, blah, blah, blah. And sitting by grandmother tree, I'll tell you what, made a difference for me. And sometimes stuff came up for me that I needed to heal and clear, because that's kind of the energetics we're in right now. More light on the planet, solar maximum, all of that, where all our stuff is coming up personally and collectively. Having that literally, so if it's cold in the, like where you are right now, if it's cold outside and you don't want to put your bare foot on the earth, put your bare hands on a tree, put your face on the tree, talk to the tree, commune with the tree, commune with Gaia in whatever way you can, touch her, be with her. You will receive, not only will you remove negative EMF energies from your body, you will literally begin to get the guidance of how to be in service as a planetary medicine woman, medicine man, keeper of the sacred energies of Gaia.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, it's so powerful. And, you know, I've just been, while you were talking, thinking that for me in the last couple of months, it's been the mushrooms coming up. And I feel it's especially because of the mycelia and like the way that how they form these alliances in Gaia, literally. But then also how this is being brought to the surface, and trees feel like they do the same with their root systems and everything that's being discovered now. I feel like there's a lot of, you know, fascination about. And it's, yeah, everybody has a tree close by, hopefully, or like a plant, or just some, yeah, elemental being. Thank you.
Yeah. Sometimes when I'm in a city and I see a tree, like a city without a lot of green stuff, without a lot of plants, or I'll see like a hedge or flowers. I literally thank them because I'm like, oh, you got to live there. So,
Yes.
by a highway or something like that. It's like, thank you so much for what you're doing. One lonely tree, because trees are all of they're a collective, right? They're a collective. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's go a little further with this planetary medicine. And also, we've been talking about the term awakening. And I don't know if it's too, like, if it's too far off. I just want to ask you here as an open question, because I somehow feel guided to bring a little bit in also your astrology background and how we, in the turning of the tides. And I know, that there is this, it's not actually even only a theory, like the precession of the equinoxes, but how we are supported right now in this elevation of consciousness frequency to do all this work.
yes, I would love to speak about that. Thank you for inviting that. Absolutely. So we've got a number of things going on astronomically and astrologically. Astronomically, well, first of all, we know we're at solar maximum, so that we're getting this. The sun, father sun, is really active right now, and what that's doing, it's bombarding our planet with plasmic light that activates and stirs up what's been buried. It's like turning a light on in a dark room or looking under the bed. There's all those dust bunnies that no one's wanted to look at or sweep away. You're starting to see them now. So that's one thing. We also, as a solar system, are moving through an area of the galaxy called the photon belt. And that's a very high frequency band or belt, if you will, or donut type energy type area that is increasing the frequency on Earth. So there's another, and in the solar system, it's not just, people talk about climate change. That's a whole nother subject that is not my expertise, but from what I have seen, it's not just Earth that's heating up right now. Climate change, we're in cycles of time. We are in cycles of time. And so this is a time where the climate is making shifts because everything is in a shift. Then when we look at the ages, the turning of the, I've just lost the name of it, the age of Aquarius that we're moving into now. We have the way that our solar system works is we move through these cycles of time, and we have been in the age of Pisces. And this moves backwards, this thing. So the cycle goes backwards. So now we're going into the age of Aquarius. And the symbol of Aquarius is its frequency. They're the two waves, but they're sound waves. And there's many symbols for each astrological sign and each astrological age, but the Aquarian age is about the rising tides lifts all ships. It's about the power to the people. It's not about the victim perpetrator. It's not about the sacrificial lamb. It's not about the savior. It's about the equality of all, the humans waking up to their divine, God-given grace that we are. And so we are being supported on many levels. As you could see it in the turning of the ages, as we said, the light energy coming in. And we're basically, you could say we're at the end of a spiritual season. We're at the end of a long period of time that the ancient Vedics called Kali Yuga. So Yuga is an age or an era, and Kali Yuga is the darkest age. It's the age of darkness, of ignorance, farthest away from the Godhead, if you will, farthest away from the remembrance of our true divinity beyond these body-mind vehicles. And so as we move out of that, we are moving into a period where we begin to literally wake up in the recognition that if I hurt you, I hurt myself. If I let you starve on a street corner, I am only prolonging my own suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And if I look for a savior, I'm out projecting my own power. Now, these ages take a long time to fully come in. There's usually about 200 to 300 year window before that's fully seated in. So we are at the vanguard. We are the first, Dolores Cannon said there were 3 waves of volunteers. Maybe we're the third, or depending on your age, you could be the second or you could be the third. But we're really at the beginning of this. So one of the things I wanted to say with regard to this, because 2025 is an intense year, a lot is being revealed because of the light. And what I'm seeing is those who really cannot get either they can't get their consciousness out of duality thinking, or they're actually controlled opposition, are starting to look at Armageddon scenarios, and the bad guys are going to win again and blah, blah, blah. And that used to be true in the era that we have some historical records of, the last 2,000 or 5,000 years. But the truth is that we don't have to play out those old polarizing victim, perpetrator, rescuer scenarios at all anymore. But it is up to us, not 100% of us. We don't have to try and get other people on board. It's up to each of us to fully claim our divinity through love, self-love, divine love, light, intelligence, clearing our energy fields, devoting ourselves to basically our own God light, the God light that is the all that is. And honoring Gaia is part of that.
There's so much in that. And you just say it like it is. And I know that probably, for many it is part of their daily routine, but I feel that also for many it isn't. And so I want to use this a little bit as a segue into your Planetary Awakening retreats that you're holding. So explain a little bit, what is the transformational process that you guide people through on these? And retreat, I feel it doesn't even give full credit to what's happening to that, alchemical experience.
That's a great way to put it. Thank you for that alchemical experience. Yeah, I'm guided in situ, as we say, as they'd say, like that's kind of an art term, right? But so this alchemical process of coming together, there's a saying from Jesus, from the Bible, where 2 or more are gathered in my name. Where 2 or more are gathered in the name of love and devotion in service to Gaia, in service to the organic ascension of Earth, we can create miracles. And so when we come together in one of my retreats, it really depends on the location and what we're doing. So for example, I just co-led a retreat in Egypt. That was a pilgrimage. So that's very different in Egypt, because you can't just rock up to a place unless you have private access and do a ceremony. So a lot of times we'd have to do a ceremony somewhere else, or we'd be in prayer, or we would do something, and then we would go and see the sites. That has a different thing. But we had a private visit to the Osirian, which is a subterranean megalithic, very ancient site. And we opened a Stargate portal there. And that was super exciting, because that ancient land is so powerful. So the more we can open up stargates where we allow the plasmic flow from the cosmic plasma coming into the earth from the cosmos, and the plasma being birthed from Gaia, and allow that to take place and emanate into the field, the more we support conscious awakening, basically conscious healing. So that was that kind of experience. Now, the experience we're going to have over at this place, which is my backdrop, my next retreat here in Thailand, we will work a lot with the water. We will be in the swimming pool there, but we'll the ocean. It's very mild, this where we are here in this particular ocean. So we can be in the water and really be attuning to the water elementals, have our feet in the earth, and doing ceremony where, the sand under the water. And we will be doing ceremony there, connecting our own body's waters, the waters of Gaia, opening portals, doing any clearing that comes up intuitively, if there's any seers in the group, this kind of thing. But that doesn't fully answer, like, as a kind of general statement of the retreats. So the retreats that I do, basically I get the download of what it is and where it is.
Yes.
And then
It's part of the creative process for you.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And then usually as it gets closer, the information starts dropping in. I see a piece. I've got one piece right now that's very certain that we're going to do that relates to creativity and guided meditation, and some Earth Oracle cards that I have. So that's one piece. And then I usually frame up the first day. We often gather 3 times. We have we have sharing circles. We have teaching components or guided, where I'm guided you through something. Could be breath work, meditation, whatever is coming through, channeled material. And then the third one is often ceremony. The evening we co-create or I ceremony. So I set up, often the very first day is very clear. It's because it's the frame up of everything, what we're going to do. And then I'm literally in flow through the retreat. So I hope that makes sense. So that happens like in the forest, on my lands, at my temple there. Here in Bali, we worked a lot with the water as well. Egypt, and who knows where we'll be next. We'll see.
Yeah. I love that. And I have a similar process, I would say, for the experiences that I guide. So it's good to hear that somebody else, has like a similar way of doing it.
Yeah, I feel like the old way of left braining things and outlining every little thing, like I can't do that for anything anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be guided. And if I'm not guided, then it's not mine to do right now.
Plus I feel, depending where you go, but for me, for example, I had planned this experience last summer that I had to move. And then instead of doing it at the summer solstice, we were moving it into September, and we were at a high altitude, which can be fine, but actually we met the first snow. And so a lot of the things that like my mind had planned to do, they weren't even possible to access. So you have to surrender. And that's another part of, I call it sacred site medicine, that happens when you allow for this co-creative field to open and work with Gaia.
Co-creative with Gaia. That's precisely what it feels like now. And to that end too, I don't think I shared this with you before, but one of the things that dropped in for me is Gridwork Asia, working with the grids here, because that happened during, what they call here the American War, what I grew up calling the Vietnam War, which affected all the countries in this region, in mainland Southeast Asia anyway, to greater or lesser degrees. And it's something that's been percolating for a couple of years now for me. I don't fully see it yet. I don't fully, I do see it. I just don't know how to pull it off yet. But what I see is small groups going to places, and we will be doing some of this here at this resort in southern Thailand, is really infusing the grids with intention to reclaim the lands for the people. Now, here in Thailand, there, like everywhere, there's people suffer, there's challenges, etc. But this is the only country that has not been colonized in this region, nor has it had such a genocidal war like Cambodia, for example, or a long history with ancient monuments. So there are places in this area and all over the American Southwest, the people, the Trail of Tears, all of that as we prayerfully, energetically infuse the grids with light through our attention, our intention, through creating crystal grids, through prayer, through working with the elementals, we're literally, that's that medicine, right? That planetary medicine, that service that says, these lands this is Gaia, it's her body. We want to intend it. It's like doing Reiki for Earth, right? In certain places. And to say, the people, the sovereign people of these lands have the right to live here in peace and harmony and blessing and bounty again, once again.
So you spoke a lot about the crystal gridding. And also, I feel that, what you talked earlier about the Stargate, that this ties in with the opening of these portals within Gaia, so that also it's almost like, the light can go through and pierce the earth in a different way. What would you recommend for somebody who wants to either start with that or deepen their connection to do grid work?
Ooh, great question. Well, I've studied with two people, but the actual crystal work I've studied with Sandra Walter. Her crystal course it's self-study. You don't have to wait until she's teaching it live. That's one way. And also follow your intuition. Again, what are you being guided to? And again, how clear is your energy? Are you able to come into clarity, peaceful? Do you meditate regularly? Have you done your shadow work where you can hold the field for this? And then if you want to work with Stargate crystals specifically and set up crystal grids, you can do that intuitively too. Or, if you feel you want to learn, I would highly recommend Sandra Walter. I feel her integrity is impeccable and her wisdom is great. And she's just a love. So for that skill set, like I said, I've studied with two different people, two very different approaches. And I find now what I do is a bit of a combination. I'm not out there trying to go in and clear out dark demonic energies, nor am I only opening pure stargates in peaceful areas with crystals. Like I said, I feel this sense of like, how has the land been impacted by trauma? And how my prayers here or my energetic working with crystals and working with intention, working with the elementals, the nagas, for example, the water serpents of this area, how can that support and raise up the field for, for the future, for now and for the future?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And I feel the part that you're speaking into about the coming and allowing your intuition and allowing also the land to be guided, because this might look different everywhere you go, right?
Yeah, it's this deep listening also, just being, just go somewhere and be there and spend time there or go back numerous times and feel what's coming up for you, what's showing up in your own field. Memories, thoughts, repetitive thoughts, old stuff of your own, or are you noticing certain numbers or signs or messages or whatever? And just talk to Gaia and say, or talk to, there's another place that I want to go to in Laos was highly bombed, and it's an ancient site called the Plain of Jars, where there's these giant megalithic jars and nobody knows anything
Oh,
about them.
wow.
Yeah, they're in these giant fields, like huge, many fields of them. There's many sites. And, just being there and just maybe leaning up against a jar or putting my hands on the earth, Gaia, what would you have me know about this? What would you like to share with me? And we don't have to know that some people are more seers than others, but we might gain insights into how might I serve here? How might I support here to activate a higher frequency here, or to turn back on maybe an ancient portal that was already here, an ancient Stargate that was already here that's been shut down.
I love that, and all of what you're saying is including this reciprocity and always coming from that place of like, we are not going somewhere to just receive, but we're actually going somewhere to give more than to receive. Or in the giving, it is also that we will be given back.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are places that you feel called to go next, apart from that one in Laos that you just mentioned?
Yeah. Well, let's see. I just came back from Cambodia, going to southern Thailand. I do that every year, but different places in southern Thailand. The Western Desert of Egypt, actually long-term plan right now, we're looking at my husband and I collaborating on a men's and women's desert council retreat in the Western Desert,
Mm.
Egypt. So going back to Egypt. Morocco is a place I've not yet been that I feel called to. And let me just feel in here. Yeah, this mainland Southeast Asia and the American Southwest are the two places that I call home for a reason. I love them deeply. So I'll continue to have events on my property and in the forest near me as well. And there's some secret places in the forests of New Mexico and Arizona that I like to go to. Not so secret, but some are just really obscure. If I said them, nobody would know what they were because they're places I've discovered in my own wanderings. Yeah, but I
Yeah.
would say
Yeah.
for sure the Western Desert of Egypt, that is gonna happen in 2026. That will be with women and men, and it'll be my first time in the exploring in the desert. We have a tremendous guide for that extraordinary man. And Lao again, or Laos, as people say, and more parts of Thailand. There's a Stargate mountain just north of here. I go there every year called Star Mountain. That's not the name in Thai, but it's Star Mountain. And and there are hot springs there. So we go there. I have my dear sister friend who's going to be supporting me on this retreat, who's Thai. She's a water baby, and she and I go there every year to soak in the hot springs and basically do prayer and connect with the Nagas there. So
Mm.
I think that'll happen soon.
Yeah.
That's just a private thing. Yeah.
Wow. Out of all of the things that you mentioned, it feels like there is these what I would call maybe nature temples or natural vortexes in a way. How do maybe temples or built structures also play a role in the work that you do?
Well, not that much, honestly, because
Mhm.
I mostly doing this work outside. But of course, Egypt being a big exception because the ancients already set up these incredible portal Stargate energies. When we had a private visit to the whole Great Pyramid. We went in the subterranean, the Queen's Chamber and the King's Chamber. And, it's a Stargate. It's a power portal. And we each took turns inside the sarcophagus, whatever that space was. And we toned and drummed and sang and, just built the energy. It's super easy inside of a pyramid. That's what pyramids are designed for. So when you can do that, that's great. The temple on my property is a yurt. It's a handmade yurt from Mongolia. And I gridded that myself. So underneath it, it's up on a platform. Underneath it, I built a crystal grid. And then that's right under the center. And then there's the central altar, which if we're doing healing work with someone, we move the central altar and put them in the
Mm.
middle. So they're getting the grid activation and the from what I've built energetically there.
Mhm. Mhm. What I feel just listening to you is that the actual constellation that comes together at your retreats, that this is the structure and the temple pillars that are amplifying the energy that is then co-created, yeah, with the heavens and the earth.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, like we are the pillars, we are the architecture and the architects. Yeah. Oh, I love that. Thank you very much for that. Mhm.
You're welcome. So you mentioned your Thailand retreat. You mentioned Egypt. Is there anything else coming up that people can join in 2025?
Oh, thank you for asking that. In 2025, the best thing to do is get on my email list. I may have a retreat at my place in the fall. Well, not the fall, like August probably, but often those go very quickly because they are in the United States with my private community. So being part of the private community is another way that's go to my email and get on my email list. That's the best thing. Right now, if you wanted to do something right away, we do have a couple of spots left for the Thailand retreat, and it's going to be extraordinary. My healer sister friend, who's Thai, who will be with us, she has the gift. She works with the Nagas and the Rishis, the ancient healing masters, interdimensionally. So when she works on you, she's not just giving you a Thai massage or an oil massage. She's working at your energetic level. She's working with your sen line. She's working with your physical body. So she'll be there holding that field of the Nagas, and I'll be doing what I've kind of described, which is opening up to receive what we're going to be doing there. And I tentatively right now I'm planning a summit in the spring. But I don't have much to say yet about that. It's just in the early planning phases.
We'll just get people on your email list and then they'll find out.
Yeah, that's the best way, really. You'll get newsletters, and I write an email almost every week, almost every Wednesday. I send out a newsletter because I was a professional writer for many years. And as a channeler, I do sometimes trans channel, and I am getting guidance, and I use my words. But it came first through writing, and my writing can be often I write a newsletter, and then I'm kind of analyzing it when I'm writing it, and then I read it. I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense.
Yes.
I know it's coming through me, and those go out once a week.
Familiar.
So just emotions. Yeah.
You're just in the zone then.
In the zone. Yeah. Letting it flow through.
I love that. Okay. Is there anything else before we close that you want to share with the listeners?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, 2025. It's a big year. It's a year of revelation for awakening, revelation for transformation. There will be a lot of invitations to lower your frequency through fear, through anxiety, through the next biggest drama to wring your hands about. I'm not saying don't have compassion. I'm not saying don't support where you can, but be really heartful about your own energy. You are the center of your universe. Be the love you wish to see in the world, not by sacrificing yourself in the old model of martyrdom. I'm going to put everyone else first because I'm so loving. No, take care of yourself. Recognize where you can be in service and how, and where you need to pull back and really do self-care, because your frequency matters, meaning that the frequency you hold will manifest into form. We don't want to keep contributing to what's happening is revelation of the shadow, which means, and it's a collapsing and an unraveling of the old systems. We don't want to contribute to that by constantly being in negativity or fear or anxiety or, oh my God, the whole world's going to hell. Pull it in, pull it in. I am a divine child of the One. I am here to be in high holy service through my own frequency, through my love, compassion, and patience for self and all others. The more we can hold to that, the more that we are contributing. And then when it's in your lane and you feel called to serve, to donate money, to, do a prayer circle or whatever, it will feel clear to you. It won't be like, because a lot of that can happen this year in 2025. So pull it in, be the love you wish to see in the world. You are enough as you are.
I'm going to note that down for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I
tell myself, I'm telling myself these things. I'm reminding myself.
I think, yeah, that's what we all have to come back to every day. Yeah. Wow. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you for sharing all that perspectives. It's been super illuminating conversation, and I bet that there is a lot to unravel for the audience here. So thank you so much for, taking your precious time and coming on here.
It's been my honor. Thank you. Many blessings.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If you liked the episode, share it with a friend or leave us a like or a comment, and I will see you next week.